We have a most important question to answer on today's ESPN FC Extra Time. Have you ever seen the movie Heat, Stevie?
Never heard of it.
Oh, come on. The Hollywood blockbuster. Al Pacino in a movie with Robert De Niro. The only time it ever happened.
Was that no Shirley Temple film? No?
Heat. Come
I knew
on.
Steve hasn't seen a movie in like 40 years.
No.
Since John Wayne.
We have our equivalent of Heat today, our own Pacino-De Niro moment. We have Ralph Honigstein and Sid Lowe appearing on the same show. But I don't think this has ever happened before.
I was convinced it was the same person picking up two checks.
I don't know which one is which. Who's chasing who? Who's trying to hunt down who? Maybe we can get to the bottom of that. Ralph, I'll start with you, seeing the first question is addressed to you. It comes from Ahmed. How much more does Honigstein hate Ancelloti after PSG's game? Is he happy he's gone?
I never hated Ancelloti. I found him an extremely likable man. The problem is that he just didn't do his job properly. I don't think there's any animosity towards him at Bayern. In fact, the goodbye message was rather warm, but it also made clear that the performances, not the results, the performances of the team over the last few weeks were seen as not good enough, and that's really down to him.
Stevie?
Well,
You're never happy when any manager gets fired. You can't.
nah, it's not a nice feeling.
No, it isn't. It isn't. He'll be fine. I suspect.
I think he'll
I
manage.
suspect he will be just fine.
Yeah.
Talking of managers under pressure, should the panel, ask Akan, take any credit for Arsenal's turnaround? Arsene Wenger seems to be following all of your advice. What was your advice? I think I missed that bit.
What turnaround are we talking about?
I don't know if it's a slight tongue-in-cheek question, but Europa League,
They haven't
amazingness.
played anybody since they played Liverpool.
Nice victory against West Brom, a nice victory against Bate.
I'm not taking any credit.
Tough competition, that. West Brom and Bate, Boris.
I don't want any of that credit.
I think that's a prompt to move right on to Deadpool's question. Talking of metrics and the new science of soccer analysis, are any of you a fan of expected goals?
Absolute nonsense. Garbage.
No.
Yeah,
What an absolute lot of nonsense.
really? Would you care to expand upon that
Well,
dismissal
I'll
of
tell you what.
expected goals?
What was the expected goals Real Madrid against Betis last week?
I don't know.
I bet it wasn't 1-0 Betis.
But,
By the way, Real Madrid are going to have 3 million shots and they're not going to score a goal.
As ex-players, this data, the theoretics, doesn't make sense to us. What use is it to me as a player knowing how many goals I'm expected to score? Absolutely none. It just doesn't register. It just doesn't register.
Let's see if De Niro and Pacino have more sympathy for expected goals. Raf?
I really like expected goals.
Why? What do you like
Look
about
at Pacino.
it? Seriously,
Look at Pacino.
what do you like about it?
It just does what you do anyway when you have a conversation. You know, the game finished, let's say 1-1, but you think, you know what, one team actually had so many chances, they should have won the goal. They should have won the game. All XGs really tells you if that's true or not. If they really had these chances that you think you might have seen, or if they were all speculative shots from 30 meters that somehow hit the bar. It just gives you slightly more objective evaluation of how the game went. It's very, very instinctive, and it's what you do anyway. When you analyze chances and how a game has gone, all it's trying to do is put a number on it. And I mean, you might not like it as ex-players, but every single manager looks at it and tries to evaluate and tries to find, more importantly, tries to find ways of getting his XG up, creating more better chances and making sure they don't give away good chances for the opposition. That's just what management is about.
Sid, is there a place in your heart for expected goals?
I wouldn't say there's a place in my heart, but I think there is a place for it. And I think maybe part of the problem here is that we're calling it expected goals, which makes it sound like something that you're defining before the game. Whereas in fact, of course, it's a response to what's happened in the game.
Right.
And so as Stevie was saying there, what do I care if I'm expected to score those many goals? It's not really how many goals you are expected to score, it's how many goals you should have scored. And as Raf said, I mean, maybe it should be called a should have goals or should have rather than expected goals. And I think in a way, this is really no different from having any other statistic, having the shots on target statistic, but it's a way of refining it, clarifying it, and as Raf rightly says, defining how many of those shots are really genuine chances. For example, and this has been something that's been talked about a lot in Spain over the last couple of weeks. Real Madrid have had more shots than anyone else. I think it's almost 100 shots already in La Liga this season. And yet you want to refine that, because does it count if someone takes a wild shot from 40 yards? Does that really tell you something about the game? No, it is not the ultimate statistic. But I must admit, I'm a little bit tired of this cliche that says the only statistic that counts is the one at the end of the game, is the score. Well, no, that's the statistics that defines who wins. It's not the only one that counts. Otherwise, no one goes to games. Let's not go to games anymore. Let's just find out what the score was. What do we care about the rest of it? If that's the only thing that matters, that's just a piece of data. The football's not just a piece of data. This is data that helps us understand what happened in the game, not what the final score was. The final score is the statistic that, in a way, is a result of all of the other things.
Well, just to give you the play-by-play, Raf is beaming with pride. Stevie's about to spontaneously combust, I think.
Well, basically, coaches watch games, watch their own team,
Steve,
and
here's a question for you.
figure out
Steve.
if some idiot is 35 yards away who normally can't hit a bar door for 3, then that'll cement that he shouldn't take a shot from 35
Steve,
yards.
Sure, but Steve, when you were a coach, presumably your coaching was somewhat more nuanced than simply looking at the results of the team you're going to play and saying, oh, they've won 4-0 once, 1-0 once, they're quite good, let's go and play. Surely you did an analysis which will have maybe some statistical variable, or if not, at the very least you're analysing how they're playing. You're not just looking at their results, are you? There's got to be more depth than simply what the final score is. And this is just another tool towards that, isn't it?
You're watching them play, you're watching footage of them play from different games.
Exactly.
And you're analysing what they do well and what they don't do so well. And you do the same with your own team. You look at all the things that you do well, the things you don't do well, what somebody might have done that you could do better.
But that doesn't that filter into when you watch another team? Presumably you look at them and think, well, let's say for argument's sake you're playing a team that started the season with 3 defeats in a row, but you watch them. Surely, if only at an instinctive level, you will watch that team and think, well, actually, they shouldn't have lost all 3. They should have scored more goals. They created more chances. They're a team we should be worried about, even though they lost all 3 games. And that should have scored more goals is fundamentally what expected goals is. Isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
See, here's the problem. All these numpties now, if they're listening to me going, well, I watched the game and I watched them play, look, throw the old classic. The game's moved on, but you haven't moved on with it. If you don't take any notice of expected goals, then you're not moving with the times. Away you go.
No, it doesn't need to be expected goals, but it's just another tool, isn't it?
It's the same stuff we've been doing for years,
it's a way of measuring
and years, but it just sounds better.
In other words, Steve, you should embrace it. It's just another tool that basically, that, as you say, describes and defines and refines and gives you a kind of a statistical basis of what you've always done. So in that sense, I don't think it is necessarily this kind of big explosion of something new.
No,
it's an ability to illustrate and demonstrate it. No, it's just a way of refining what we always talk about. As Raf said right at the very start, this is fundamentally just that conversation you had after the game, which is how good were they? Oh, they should have probably got 3 or 4 really, not just the one they did get.
So it's been so people have been doing it for years.
If I'm in a pub having a drink with somebody talking about the game, and they say, well, the expected goals was 3. Cash me out right now. I'm going home. I'm in the wrong pub.
Well,
I'm not suggesting, Shaq, that we do this in the pub. This is a statistical tool for something else. In the pub, it's a very different story. As it should be.
If it was expected saves, it would be completely different.
Well, thank goodness we didn't have expected saves in my day.
But if it's Shaq and it's expected saves, the answer is 0. Surely.
That's why I'm not hanging out with you in a pub. That unexpected goals.
I tell you what, this ended up being longer than Heat. You really did. You should go back.
How long was Heat?
You should go back and
Steve
watch
won't remember this either.
How long was Heat?
Next show, ESPN FC Friday at 6 o'clock Eastern. We'll have a weekend preview for you.